Australian as they come, that's Holden.
Holden, you in my Holden. Life is simply divine. All the world is fair. I'm a millionaire on the road ahead. There's a happy sign. Holden, you in my Holden. You were meant to be mine. We will have a wedding. No regretting, baby, ain't that fine? Now we can't expect all sunny weather. Troubles come, my dear, but as long as we're to travel together, we'll take them all in top gear. Holding you in my Holden.
Welcome to the Lion's Den, episode 52. G.M.H. Plant 3. Colin arrives at Plant 3, having been reassigned to maintenance from the foundry.
G'day, I'm Colin Coyle. I'm to start here.
Hi, I'm Rex. I'm not quite sure what you're supposed to do. So here's a tin, some rags, and a cake of Bonami. All the windows in this section need cleaning. Then when the foreman gets back, he can assign you to something else.
Okay, I'll make a start now.
Alright, see you after.
Colin makes a start. Colin is diligently working on all the glass, one pane at a time. As he is working, he looks around at the goings-on, the machines and the men who work them. An idea struck him. If he was to put the polish on several panes at once, then that would give him time to look around a bit.
Hello again, are you ready to polish?
No, I've done a number of them, so I have time to wait until they dry, and then before polishing them off, and that gives me time to have a look around at these machines and all about them.
Well, I operate several machines in weld, as well as being a toolmaker. How about you polish off your windows, then when you apply another set, come back here and I will show you how a couple of these work.
That sounds great. You're on.
Colin walks off to do exactly as suggested.
That took a while.
After polishing off the windows, I applied another lot to the next lot, so that I'll have some time here to learn.
Good thinking. Of course, if someone comes here looking for you, you'll have to go right away.
Of course.
Do you know how to read drawings?
Yes, some I do.
Good, that helps. What mechanical knowledge do you have?
I was a mechanics assistant at Holden Delos.
That's great. You would have been taught properly. They have to be spot on for aircraft.
Coyle's house, tea time.
Good evening, Mother, Uncle Fred.
Good evening, Colin. How are things at General Motors?
Good evening, Colin. How are you?
I am well. I have not long started in Plant 3. I'm doing maintenance at the moment. However, during downtimes, I am being shown how to operate some of the machines.
Well, that sounds like you're moving ahead.
Well, yes, if you learn more skills, that'll help you to do more important jobs. And of course, you will have more security.
Yes, exactly. And the inevitable pay increase. I'll just turn up the radio for the news.
Here is the news. I'm Anthony Bradshaw. The official opening of the Henty by-election campaign last night by Mr Menzies for Liberalism and Mr Chifley for Labor is really the first shot in the general election campaign, which may be expected late this year. Labor's policy is well known. Its interpretation by the present government is a sorry affair. The Liberal Party's policy is one to be proud of. With its essentially realist outlook on such vital matters as external affairs, defence, industrial peace, taxation, migration, and the development of industry by private enterprise. Mr. Menzies' exposition of the highlights of this policy last night stamped him as the outstanding leader of the movement, which at present time offers the sanest and most feasible program if Australia is to fill its true post-war role. He emphasised the need for cooperation with Britain politically, economically and strategically on the assumption that a united and strengthened empire offers the only promise of world peace. He drove home the much-needed lesson that industrial arbitration and strikes are incompatible. He stressed that a substantial reduction of taxation is primarily important for the rehabilitation and amplification of Australia's industry. New South Wales strikes lost 8,500 tonnes of coal yesterday. Sydney, Monday, production of more than 8,500 tonnes of coal was lost in New South Wales because of strikes or stoppages today. Details of northern coal mine stoppages supplied by the owners were strikes: Richmond Main Colliery 2,300 tonnes, Elrington 1,100 tonnes, Maitland Main 700 tonnes, Stockrington Number 1 950 tonnes, Stockrington Number 2 830 tonnes. Resumptions: Pellore Main, Cessnock Number 2 and Bellbird Number 1 tunnel, 3 southern mines were idle, involving a loss of more than 2,500 tonnes of coal. No clue yet to cause of airline crash. Officials fly to scene. Civil Aviation Department and ANA officials flew from Melbourne to Hobart yesterday and went straight to the beach near where the Douglas airliner crashed into the sea on Sunday night. At present, no indication can be given of the probable cause of the crash, and appointment of an Air Court of Inquiry will not be considered until after a report is received from the officials who flew to Hobart yesterday. Captain Ivan Holliman, Managing Director of ANA, said yesterday that the Douglas had flown from Sydney to Melbourne and then to Tasmania on Sunday without giving any sign of trouble. The engines and controls had been given the normal routine check over at Cambridge before the plane took off for Melbourne in a 10-mile-per-hour wind. Company engineers said the takeoff was normal and both engines were running perfectly at the time. Satisfied that all was well, the men left the aerodrome to go home for the night. Army Air Force transport had been converted for civil use. It had been in service for just over a year. Next of kin of passengers who were killed in the crash will be paid £2,000 insurance money, according to a spokesman for Australian National Airways in Hobart yesterday. The company only very recently announced that each passenger travelling by its planes would be insured for that amount. That was the news. More news at 11 p.m.
That's really bad about the crash. I don't think the refurbishing of the Douglas should have been done, because of the stress of the airframe would have been far greater in the war than in civilian use.
Colin, you're right, of course. Cost-cutting measures to save money may have resulted in costing lives.
Yes. Very sad.
G.M.H. Plant 3. Colin is cleaning windows when he notices a door open where it had not been opened before. Curious, he decides to apply more cleaner to several panes of glass, as he had done before, to give him time to explore. Colin steps down from his ladder and walks over to the door. He calls out hello and receives no reply.
Hello? Anyone there?
He decides to look inside, but only for a little.
Well, what do you want? You know you're not supposed to be here.
Thinking quickly, Colin explains.
They asked me to clean all the windows in the plant. Do you want yours done?
June manages a little smile.
I'll ask.
June goes into another room and returns shortly.
Yes, it would be nice to have them cleaned.
On one set of these windows, Colin could see right into the office, and the bonus was he could see June's desk. Upon finishing cleaning, Colin just realised he had forgotten to see Rex Osmond.
Sorry, Rex. I cleaned the windows in the new office I'd not seen before. I found a door open, and that had not been opened before, and met a fine lass, June.
Been eyeing off June prior, have you?
Colin is cleaning windows again and discovers another door, which was previously kept locked, but was for some unknown reason unlocked. Colin decides to have a look, armed with his same excuse as before when June found him. Colin goes in to find the room quite large, with several cars in pieces and one under a tarpaulin. Deciding discretion is the better part of valour, he returns to Rex Osmond's section.
Hi, Rex. Delayed again, this time for another reason. I found this door. It was normally locked. It was open. I had a look in. An amazing sight. Several cars in pieces, a Chev, Buick, CKW, Willie's Knight, and one covered with a white tarpaulin.
Rex standing with the blood drained from his face, looking like he had seen a ghost.
What's wrong?
Jesus, don't let everybody know you were there. Under no circumstances. No. You would be out of the gate for the last time. That's experimental. Only old Tom and the other god has clearance for there.
A bit much. God?
Old Tom is answerable to only Lawrence Hartnett himself.
Okay.
Australian as they come, that's Holden.
Holden, you in my Holden. Life is simply divine. All the world is fair. I'm a millionaire on the road ahead. There's a happy sign. Holden, you in my Holden. You were meant to be mine. We will have a wedding, no regretting. Baby, ain't that fine? Now we can't expect all sunny weather. Troubles come, my dear.